What's up? I'm back. I've returned. I'm Claudia. This is my channel where I'm talking about books and occasionally knitting. Today I decided to do something a little bit like, do a tag, do something a little fun. So I'm gonna do the Booktube Newbie Tag. So I'm like, I'm new. That's me. And it seems relevant because people still do it. This isn't a tag that hasn't been done since 2012, but yeah, so your Booktube Newbie Tag. Alright, so question number one is, why did you start this channel? It's because no one around me reads that much that I'm aware of, / I have a lot of anxiety and I don't know how to start conversations about books I'm reading with like anyone but like my girlfriend, but she has no interest in like reading the books herself. So just sort of for that, and also because like I like making videos and editing videos. It's like the beginning of high school. For various things, I've like consistently made videos and edited them, and like I like doing it. And also just like I like talking about books. I like having also like a timeline of like when I've read things, because otherwise I have to rely on like my memory, and my memory isn't that great. So it's gonna be nice to have like a video evidence of like, here's all the things I've read, here's what I thought about them in the moment, it just goes like that, I don't know. Number two is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to YouTube? Two things. One, I actually studied creative writing when I was in high school, relatively intensely. So like I do have that perspective, but I also have not read a book. I haven't read more than maybe 3 books since graduating high school back in like 2015. And honestly, since like my freshman year, I haven't read, up until like recently, I haven't read like many books for pleasure. It's always been like, oh, I have to read this for school. I have to read this because I have to study it and I have to make a test for it. And like, it was like always like a duty type thing. So like I also have the perspective of like anything that was super hyped up between like 2011 and now, I'm unaware of pretty much. I'm not super aware of what all's happened in terms of books for like pretty much the past decade. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm a fresh pair of eyes. Number 3 is, what are you most excited about for this channel? I am honestly most excited to figure out the best way to review books, because it's something I've never been very good at. I'm really good at being like, oh, I like it, or oh, I didn't like it. Or like if I'm given like a passage of a book, I'm good at like analyzing why it works or why it doesn't work, but I'm not good at describing why I liked or disliked a book. I'm looking forward to getting better about reviewing books, because I do want to do a lot of like individual book reviews, because I feel like that's something like I don't see a lot on Booktube, is like people doing like a review of this book. Some people are, but not everyone does, and I want to be able to be someone who does that. And also just like, editing videos. I want to occasionally try to make more like prettier looking videos that aren't just me sitting and talking. Number 4 is, why do you love reading? And I really like, I'm not going to say escapism, but a little bit of escapism. I get like engrossed in something and like absorb something that someone else created, which I get that like YouTube is the same thing, but like it feels different, Number 5 is, what book / series got you into reading? As a kid, it was either the Gregor the Overlander series that Suzanne Collins wrote before she wrote Hunger Games, which is about like this kid named Gregor and his little sisters, and they find an underground civilization and they like ride giant bats, and like it's a really intense series towards the end, at least for like a kid. That or like The Frog Princess. I can't remember who that's by. It's the one with the fluorescent pink cover and the frog on a pillow on it. And that was a lot of fun. I read that entire series. I didn't really like the like later one part of the couple books when it was like about her daughter, but those were the ones initially as a kid that got me into reading. What got me back into reading was, weirdly enough, I guess not weird, it's a popular ass series, but like A Court of Thorns and Roses. Not because I saw it recommended by like Booktube or anything, but because all of the knitting podcasters recommended A Court of Thorns and Roses. Once Upon a Corgi, her favorite book. series. Like, maybe not that person's a favorite, but Vine has also read it. Like, so many knitting podcasters have read A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's just like the only book series anyone on there talks about, which is really random, but like, that's what got me back into reading. I acknowledge it's not like literature by any means, but like, it was a fun time. The last book was not my favorite, but like, it was a fun time. Number 6 is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Honestly, really stupid detail things, like how do you do like a little intro thing that has like a little animation? I don't know how to do animation, or like, you know, how filming stuff mostly, honestly. That, and like, how do you like read so much so quickly? / how do you read enough, make yourself read enough variety that it keeps things interesting, you aren't talking about the same things over and over. Number 7 is, what challenges from starting booktube do you think will be hardest to overcome? Honestly, getting people to watch my videos, because I'm not the kind of person, I'm not self-confident enough to be like, hey, Instagram, where all my friends are, hey, Facebook, where all my family is, like, come watch these videos. Like, I don't like the concept of that. Like, these aren't gonna really get shared anywhere except like Tumblr and Twitter. Then like, no one I have in person like is on those really. Also, like, finding time to film videos, because like, I work all the time and I'm stressed and exhausted and depressed, and like, it's a lot to try to like add anything else in, especially because I knit. So I have like another hobby on top of reading, and then on top of making videos. That's like 3 full hobbies on top of working pretty much full time. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot to do. So I'm really mostly just concerned about that. Question number 8 is, when did you start reading? I started reading when I was a little kid. Probably like 2nd grade is the earliest I have like firm memories of like reading and like picking up books and like that being a thing. When I started reading again, like post high school, was in December, so not super long at all. Number 9 is, where do you read? I honestly mostly read here, sitting in bed, or at work, like pretty much wherever, whenever I'm like on my lunch break, or like my girlfriend and I share a car, so if I'm like, she gets off work right after me, then I'll sit and like wait for her to come bring the car and all that. But yeah, so here and work pretty much. Number 10 is, what kind of books do you like to read? And to that, I don't know. What I used to like to read was a lot of like fairy tale retellings, or like fantasy in general, and the occasional like contemporary story that I really liked. And a little, I don't know, or like weird stuff, like a little bit of sci-fi, a lot of bit of fantasy, occasionally contemporary if I pick it up, like, and thrillers. Weirdly enough, I read a lot of like YA thrillers when I was in like 7th and 8th grade, and I really enjoyed them. Anything by like Lois Duncan, I was like a sucker for. Yeah, so that's it. That's the Booktube Newbie Tag. Feel free to subscribe. Let me know if you're also new, so we can all like get to know each other, have a little community. It always feels like Booktube is like all these big famous, not famous, I don't think anyone is like famous on the level of like celebrity, but like bigger than the rest of us, you know? Like, they have a following and stuff, so it'd be nice to have a little community here. So if you're new, drop a comment, let me know. We can all check each other out. Feel free to subscribe and follow me on Twitter. I have started using Twitter, and I'm not great at it, but also no one follows me, so it feels like a little bit pointless. But my Twitter is @ClaudiaKnits. I'm gonna put a link to that, and my Goodreads. Add me on Goodreads as friends, you know, all that fun stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.